I hope my the screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, all good, Dr. Shafiq.
Okay, so the talk I will be delivering here. So I will be basically shedding some light on this LLM towards specifically into the ethics. What will be the impact of it in future as far as the ethics and in particular the cybersecurity? What are the cybersecurity concerns and what impact it can have in future? So since there has been given my introduction already, so I just quickly mentioned here that it is I've been involved with various the industry and training partners all over the world. We have been certain projects running, which are currently in these countries. I have been involved with some of the projects, industry projects and academic projects running. Some of my collaborators are in Canada, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Middle East, and in India as well. So without further ado, first before getting into the ethics and vulnerabilities of related to the LLMs, what basically LLM is actually, we need to before we delve into these other aspects, what actually is LLM? So let's exactly see a generic picture of it and what exactly it is and how it is operating. So basically, LLMs are deep learning based models which are designed to process and generate remarkably human-like text to engage in natural conversations. So the idea behind this LLM is so that how close we can go to the human-like the conversations which we have been seeing there and we are interacting with, for example, the chat GPT, we've been interacting. It's like a personal assistant to you. You communicate with it, you ask a number of queries that you have, and there are others like we have the T5, BART, and so on and so forth. So basically, with this tremendous and the models that we have, the deep learning models that we have, that has made this the possibility that we can have such models which, by leveraging these advanced neural network architectures such as the transformers, we can get close to that natural conversation like we humans are having. So how do actually these LLMs operate? So there are certain aspects of it, basically certain points which I can just briefly describe here. So a few crucial processes are involved in how actually these LLM operate. So initially, a sizable corpus of text data, which can include like the books we have, the journals, the web pages, all the information mostly that we have on the internet available. These data are being used to train the model, which involves exposing the model to a wide range of language tasks, enabling it to learn representations of words, phrases, sentences that we use in day-to-day life, we humans use. So we are basically using this data, the widely available data, to train this model in a way, and that then meanings and relationships are very much being captured here. The model is basically trained using these deep learning methods, like as I said, the neural networks they use with several processing layers, like those we have the encoders and decoder architecture it has. So these often, we have the comprised of millions and billions of the parameters. They use the huge set, the number of parameters, billions of parameters, which enable them to capture the complex linguistic patterns and semantic relationships. After training the model can produce contextually relevant and coherent text responding to the input text. So the users, after being training a lot, they have got all these data sets and they become so much intelligent that they can answer to your inputs. So LLMs basically can produce the coherent and fluent content we have, even when giving incomplete or even unclear inputs by employing the language model techniques. Basically, we sometimes when we type something, we even have written half of it, so it can give us almost a complete sentence, like the humans are meant to complete the sentence that way. So this is basically all about it is the advancement, which is so much remarkable to have these LLMs, these models being so much trained that it can almost predict what human is expecting next to be written. So some of the most some of the popular LLM models that we have, these like the ChatGPT, we have Bart, we have ExcelNet, Robota, so and so forth. These advanced LLMs are capable of zero shot and few shot training. Means basically they don't need you don't have to, you can perform tasks without specific training because they have already been advanced to such certain level. So you don't have to take them to that the further extended training, but just a fine tuning, tweaking, you can do the tuning, fine tuning with the model. You can use it to other applications as well. So this allows them to generalize to new domains, like we can use it to different domains as well, and task with the minimum additional training. So like these, as I mentioned, these LLM models are being used and they have demonstrated advanced language understanding and generation capabilities, leading to a widespread adoption in diverse applications, like including the natural language understanding that we have, text generation, code generation we have, information retrieval, the conversational AI that we have, and more. And as far as the applications goes, we have a number of applications that it can do. We can use them to text, for communication, or we can have the image to text conversion, chatbots. We have data cleaning. We can use the code generation. You can use these models for scientific analysis and even for anomaly detection to some extent. So it somehow in this way can give you the positive, in some sort of has some security features here a little bit, not much, but in general, they can give the anomaly detection, means we can use that for the systems as well. But since we have discussed a lot, this just a glimpse that I have given you. I'm sure that my actually focus will be on the ethics and the cybersecurity part, but I have given you the basic, or you can say the overview of what LLMs are and what they can do, what the capability that these models can have. So although LLMs can demonstrate remarkable performance and has a broad range of applications possibilities, but we have seen that the research has shown us that there are several possible risks involved in using these LLMs. So looking into the cybersecurity perspective, so we look into the identifying the vulnerabilities. Let us look into the in this perspective and see what are the possibilities in terms of the adversarial attacks, or the hackers, or these the malicious users can exploit these existing LLM models. One such problem is that the social biasness in the training data may be inherited and amplified by LLMs, which could result in unethical and unfair outcomes for the model. Another risk is that the LLMs may, on purpose, in response to particular cues, produce improper deceptions that we have, or harmful content. We will see that in a couple of slides how a malicious user can exploit the existing models to reveal to retrieve or to reveal this hidden information, which could be the confidential as well. So this can have a profound impact on the people and society at large. The complexity and the scale of LLMs has increased privacy concerns. So because these models have been generated based on the data set which is available all over the web. So that kind of a thing, that sometimes we have this data which is very private and confidential, but they can use it, and they can can have a serious consequences, especially about data sharing and potential exploitations. We will see that also. So more questions are raising if the models are being publicly available. Make it publicly available after being trained on a private data. So like some of the companies, they are using these LLM models or these generative AIs and all this latest advanced artificial intelligence techniques. But basically what they do is they are using it privately. But what if these models, like we talk about OpenAI and some of the these having make it publicly available, that we can use the Chat GPT. So it can have a serious consequences because it has been trained on this data, and if it is being publicly available, there could be the issues, as far as the individual as well as the corporate wise privacy issues, if this has been used for wrongdoing. So one such thing that we have is adversarial attacks. Basically, these involve crafted input designed to deceive machine learning models. So it has been going on right now. And what they do, basically, they trigger unintended behaviors. So rather than altering the model directly, they do not modify the model directly, but indirectly they can alter by using certain prompts. So they can basically indirectly prompt certain the things to these model so that they can misuse them. Adversaries manipulate the data fed into the systems. So these basically, for these LLMs, adversarial attacks typically manipulate the text prompts, which we do when we start conversation with these LLM models. For example, the Chat GPT, you can start basically with the genuine conversation, and then you can start with certain prompts which can lead to those adversarial things. So typically, basically what they do, they manipulate the text prompts and inputs to generate biased, nonsensical or dangerous outputs that nonetheless appear coherent for a given prompt. So what the attack vector, or you can see the attack surface it has, so it can be used for a number of things. So it basically can be used to gather the information gathering that we have. Means we can get the personal data, confidential data, and then there will be the chat leaks. One such thing was, I'm sure that the audience may have heard this event. What happened, basically there was some employee, as far as this the Samsung, he was working in a Samsung. One of the employees, he started conversation with Chat GPT and revealing some of the confidential projects, which was then actually got leaked, and that information was publicly available. So we can use it for the fraudulent. I mean, these adversaries can use it for the fraudulent. They can use it for the phishing, scams, and masquerading as well. The intrusions are there. The persistence, which we call they can have the backdoor persistence by modifying, by injecting certain malwares into these models. They can keep persistent and give the information to these malicious users. Remote control, as I said, can have the backdoor and API calls as well. So malwares spreading these injections, manipulated content, and availability. So they can also have impact us on a denial of service attack as well by increasing the competition as well. So these are some of the attack vector surface through these adversaries. They can use. They can use it the passive methods like these prompts, which we see in a couple of slides later. They can use these active methods, user-driven injections, and even hidden injections. They don't have to, they can just add a little bit noise to the existing the data, which is very hard to judge, and then we can have a totally a different output. And obviously, the affected parties will be the end users, the developers, automated systems, and even the LLM itself. And then what it can have a trust issue. I mean, since the nature of this, the LLMs they are based on the deep learning models, so which is basically the nature is black box kind of a nature, and it can have a trust issue. So for this case, like one of the attacks they use, the adversaries, they will call that prompt injection. So a complex input manipulation for these LLM is a critical ethical concern with AI ethics, which we say. But manipulating the input by injecting certain biased, false, or harmful prompts into these models, and that can lead to output that perpetuate biasness. We can have the bias output, encourage destructive behavior, or even we can have some, the leak. They can leak the sensitive information. So basically, these vulnerabilities stemming from prompt injections evoke ethical concerns that want proactive measures. So basically, if you can see that you don't have to directly attack to the model itself, you can send certain informations to the publicly accessible server, and then that poisoner server can indirectly, interact with the application integrated those applications which are having the LLM, and then the user can get affected, because we normally think that this chat GPTs and others are like they are more intelligent and so-called secure models. But the thing is, if we have these adversaries have somehow managed to the prompt injections, which we call the injecting certain malicious code inside, or some sort of a noise, which is actually a infected data set, that can have a serious consequences. The other thing is data poisoning itself. So these are all basically the injection kind of an attacks in general, but they have certain methods here. So as far as this data poisoning is concerned, is basically this data poisoning is when hackers successfully feed data to AI to basically create vulnerability. So research has shown that AI cannot predict accurately if the data sets are corrupted. So far, to the best of my knowledge, and what research has shown, that these existing models, they cannot predict accurately if the data which has been fed into the models are infected, or they have corrupted. This actually is a threat on the integrity. So basically, integrity is compromised. So in the security perspective, we have three basic things as far as the model is concerned, which we call the CIA. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So here the integrity is being compromised. So means the trust, the trust you have on these systems is broken here. You don't know it. You are not aware of it. The users are not aware of it, but yet the models have been unintentionally. They don't have the capability of detecting. They have been fed with this corrupted data, can have an integrity issue. So the integrity of LLM relies heavily on the nature of their training data. So when we train this model, we have to make sure that the data which is being fed into the models are clean data. So it is again a challenge here when it comes to designing these models, or managing these models, which could be is one of the research area that people are looking into it. So these can prompt manipulations during fine tuning, can introduce these biases, which I said, these certain things which can tweak do the fine tuning, tweaking the model itself, leading to unintended real-time discrimination. So we are not aware of it, but it has been done. So the impact of poisoned AI are severe. imagine being able to circumvent a network security measures by infecting it with a simple input. So you can just modify a bit of it, like we have seen the malwares when the malware is being attached to any benign or any data set or any clean application, so it can have a backdoor there. So it can have a serious consequences by infecting it with a simple input. A poisoned AI subverts a company's AI defense, leaving chances for hackers to strike. So if the model has been compromised this way, so then the hackers can have the access to the company's the infrastructure, and we know it can have a serious consequences. So other thing that these hackers use, we call the jailbreaking. So basically, what it actually does in the context of LLM, if we try to understand what jailbreaking is all about, this technique, this method aims at to circumvent the restrictions imposed by the model owner or the hosting platform to achieve unauthorized access to these models. Means, for example, when we try to try certain prompts to these models, for example, to the Chat GPT or Claude, we have these. When we wait to put something, they can restrict us there. For example, what tools do I need to cut down a stop sign? The purpose is to provide a helpful and responsible information. I cannot support on this. So basically, there are certain things which restricts it. However, a jailbreaking attack happens when someone tricks the model. So basically, they tricks it into something, doing something it is not supposed to do. Like they can share some, they initiate with certain, like the harmful information, start with absolutely here. So then it can give the details. Basically, the system is here being trained to restrict certain things, but there are certain, do they have the guardrails, these LLM models, advanced models, but they can be, compromised with these kind of prompts, and thus can have a serious consequence. For example, if a model is trained not to help with illegal activities, this particular method, the jailbreak attack might try to get around this safety feature and get the model to help anyway. Other way these hackers use, we call that prompt leaking. So basically, it is a concern when using these models, even if data is embedded within hidden or system prompts. So you can have certain models that they do not reveal the information. The model might inadvertently reveal this information to the user. So basically, this if you can see from this, the scan custom GPT store, so the hacker can have the informations, get it from the obviously the internet. There's plenty of resources available. They can get it, and then they can inject these adversarial prompts into the model. So in other words, if we can see here, these prompt leaking of LLM is the act of prompting the LLM to make it is partially or completely print its original system prompts. This is done by designing specialized user queries. So also classified under these adversarial queries, like you can see from this, from this slide, if it is clear, that can cause the system to leak its system prompt and other internal information, and that can have the personal information leakage. We can get this leakage done here. So this is actually the attack on confidentiality. So this is the concern which we have on the privacy. So it can have both on the individual privacy, or it can have the serious consequence on the corporate privacy as well, because these things can reveal the information to the users. Other thing that they use, revealing hidden features. So sometimes the user can simply put, how do I assess the advanced settings? So it can prompt certain things. Advanced settings are currently under development, but it can reveal certain information. So this sort of prompt unintentionally discloses an upcoming feature, potentially alerting the competitor. So this, because we have this in the marketplace, different companies are, it's a race to show that we have the best model and we have the best product. But by you delving into this, they can, in fact, reveal the information which can, be used for by the competitors. Now, this is some of the ways that these models can be compromised, and this could be having a vulnerability and security threats that we have. Now, coming to this point, why ethics matter in LLM. And by the way, these are the implication that I mentioned in the negative way. There are the positive ways, and hopefully the solutions which we can discuss at the end of this the presentation. So now, why ethics matter in this case? So obviously, the critical factor in the creation use of LLMs is ethics, because we basically are delving with something, we are interacting with some the machines or the models here, and we are trusting them and sharing a lot of information there. So because the LLMs can produce information that might be interpreted either positively or negatively. So these models are not, they cannot distinguish between whether the person, the input has been given for the positive purpose or for the negative purpose. As we have just seen that some of the tricks which can lead to prompt or reveal the private information. It is essential to have proactive ethical framework. So this is one of the challenges the industries and these researchers and even the governance, the regulatory bodies, they come on a same page, that we can have a proactive ethical framework and legislative procedures to regulate their proper usage and hold them accountable for the results. We must find the accountability here, because these models are not explainable, because as I said, these models are basically using, like they are like the black box kind of a thing. Earlier when we started using these machine learning techniques in the machine learning, the legacy machine learning algorithms, you can have certain things where you can basically have certain control. So as a user, as a trainer, as a researcher, you can have certain control over it. But when we have this black box model kind of a thing, which is obviously they are meant on the deep learning models, so they is so dark. I mean, in a way, they do not explain the things. So it is not explanation, explaining what exactly happened. So basically, we give some input to it, we fed the data, and we get the results. So explainable AI had this, the thing that we can see what exactly is happening. But in black box kind of a model, that is not there. So their efficacy and reliability are restricted by their lack of operational understanding, even with their sophisticated skills. So that we need to consider. Again, saying this, the ethics, what need to consider, the privacy issues, the security issues. But again, we cannot deny the fact that it is inevitable that we can, run away from the future of LLM. The LLM is the future. The rapid, advanced, and spreading adoption of these models make their potential promises through the positive way, but also through the malicious attacks on urgent ethical concerns. So again, as I said, these models are available for the good purpose and for the bad purpose. So how the user uses it, that is a question here. So attackers basically aims here to deliberately manipulate these LLM responses, basically to do what? To maybe they want to spread some misinformation, the biasness, that can be used for the election campaign or some sort of the hate speech that's going on. We have this social media. We see this time and again that there is the biasness, and there's a lot of hate speech are being we see these evidences are or they can inappropriate contents that could significant impact. So we have certain the sensualities, that kind of stuff is being done by using the deep fake, and it can have a serious consequence as well. So it is therefore very critical for these the developers, for the scientific family and the governance itself to look into these matters. So it is critical to safeguard the LLMs based on the ethical norms, considering all these security issues, and LLMs are being integrated into sensitive domains. So now, as I said, the LLM is being widely adopted by different fields, and especially in the healthcare, it's being implemented, employed in education, law, and we have the policy making, where reliability and trust worthiness are very paramount. So all these areas it's a matter of trust. So how do we manage the trust by using these models? So that is again a challenge, a question, open question for the researchers, for the industry people, how they will combat these things. What could be the possible solution then? So as artificial intelligence and LLM technologies become more sophisticated, the capacity to analyze and draw conclusions from collecting data grows more potent, intensifying the potential for privacy violence. We have this, we talk about the industry 4.0, and there is billions of IoT devices. They are generating the data every day. We have a huge amount of data has been generated. So there could be the private information as well. So a lot of information is available already openly in the public domains. So it is crucial to implement robust privacy protections at both the individual and systematic level. So as an individually, we can maybe focus on using the strong passwords, and do not share the information which is very confidential in the social media and stuff. As far as the systematic level or the corporate level, the companies and developers have a responsibility. The researchers have a responsibility to build privacy protection into their product. So, and serving from the ground up, a concept known as privacy by design. So there are certain companies which are working on it. They say it privacy by design. So if we focus all these things, if we focus certain areas which I just highlighted, these are just few. There are many issues, but I highlighted only few here due to the limitations of the time. So if we have this idea security by design, so we can fulfill the privacy and ethical major concerns here. So when we design any such models or any such AI based solution that we have, we keep in mind the security as well, and we look into the red team as well. In this perspective, we have the red teams and the blue teams. The red teams basically those we call them ethical hackers. They look into security perspective, and then like the adversarial perspective, they try to breach the model and so on and so forth. And then the blue teams, basically the ones who are designing the security solutions, can come up with a secure model. So basically the idea here is that we use these models, but we consider these points some of them which I have highlighted. There's like in the Europe, they have this we call the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation. So they set in the Europe, they set certain restrictions, to use ChatGPT and other things. So we may restrict certain use of these LLMs at present. It depends how much the applications and the leverage that you can give to the users of these models. Okay, so however, this legal regulation that we are talking about alone are not sufficient. That will not be sufficient here. So cultural shift also needs, as I said, that we as the academicians, the industry people, the governance, and all the regulatory bodies, we need to come up and come on a same page and think about it, have certain regulations for the designing of these model, and then I think we can address these issues. So privacy is really a concern nowadays in a world where data is like is a currency, is a new currency. Now, if you have the data, you have everything. So it is a fundamental right that needs to be diligently safeguarded. So thank you. I hope I have somehow delivered the message what these things need to be done. If you want to contact me, and this is how we can get in touch. And thank you. If there's any questions, we can take it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Shafiq. So thank you very much for your insightful perspective. You have covered a lot for the beginning of what is LLM until the security concerns and ethical concerns and possible solutions within the LLM landscape. So just a reminder to all participants today, all our audience, we can take the Q&A. Pull your burning questions. We can have them at the end of our Q&A session for today. All right. Okay. So thank you very much again, Dr. Shafiq. And we would like to welcome our next speaker.
Pleasure is mine.
Yes, thank you very much. Our next speaker, Mr. Arshad. Are you ready with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, all clear.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Sure.
All right. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, all good, Mr. Arshad.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this fascinating talk and giving me the opportunity to share some of the knowledge that I have around this area. So my name is Arshad Mehmood. I am a technical lead in Intel Corporation, working there for the last 17 years, and recently been working on AI technologies, including the robotics enabling simulation, so those kind of things. In today's presentation, I will be discussing about or giving some kind of overview on the practical applications of LLM and their industry impact. And before we go into detail about this thing, let me set up a kind of understanding on the large language model. Thanks to Dr. Shafiq, he has already given a background on the LLM. I wouldn't go into more detail about how LLM works, but here I just going to give a high-level kind of intro just to set the context. And large language models are a type of a generative AI that focuses on understanding human languages and generating human languages, such as the OpenAI GPT series can compose text that is indistinguishable from that was written by human, and it's ranging from articles and poetry to code and conversational responses. A few things that need to be focused, that LLMs are only text-only kind of models. Their input is text, so not binary. So this is one of the distinguishing factor of LLMs. And they are very resource intensive. Means if you want some reasonable output or reasonable kind of inference from a LLM model, which comes from a fairly large models, that gonna take a lot of compute resources, not only in training them, but also when trying to get some answers from them, gonna need a quite good GPU plus RAM and all those things. That's the consideration need to be there. But of course, whatever the output they gave, it has changed the whole industry, and that is so remarkable, so fascinating. And we're gonna see in the future, in the upcoming slides, how does that play off right now, and how it's changing, affecting the community and the industry itself. All right. in order to, because one of the my intention over here is to give audience perspective of because everybody is talking about Gen AI, LLMs, all those things, but how do we utilize them? Which kind of application or which kind of areas they will play well? In order to get that understanding, let me give you a little bit more bird eye view of the whole scenario. The thing is, we can actually bucketize artificial intelligence to two major buckets. One is called the predictive artificial intelligence, and the second one is the Gen AI, the generative AI. The predictive AI is basically is all about identifying the pattern, existing data, reading or understanding the existing data in the past events and make predictions about future events. And when we talk about prediction AI, predictive AI, the keywords that come to our mind are deterministics, means the outputs generated. If you give the same input to a predictive AI model, the results will be, the output will be very deterministic. It's more analytical because it's the predictive AI is more like a number churning models, more analytical kind of approach they have. They are more towards accuracy, forecasting, and very objective and mostly supervised learning. So you need to have a lot of supervised data in order to train the models. And one thing is that almost all the models before the Gen AI came, all were predictive AI based kind of models. And the other type, which is the Gen AI, which under which the LLM comes into, is refers to the category of AI systems capable of generating completely creative, novel contents on their own, such as the keywords that comes into our mind when we talk about Gen AI is the creativity, innovation, diversity, imagination, exploration, and it is all about unsupervised learning. Basically, you just give the text, the corpus to the model and train it without any explicit, like, this is the text and this is the answer, not that kind of thing. Just give the text, just give the data content, and let the model learn and figure out the patterns inside the given training data by itself and build up its understanding out of it. And on the right side, I try to put everything into a nutshell into this kind of image where the bigger umbrella is the artificial intelligence. Within that comes the machine learning. And within the machine learning, we have neural networks. Within neural networks, we have a branch of deep learning, which is basically about all neural network and all those things, right? Where the neural networks are being stacked up in a kind of layer kind of fashion. And this Gen AI, generative AI, is a subset of deep learning. And within that generative AI, we have the LLMs over here. And as I said, the predictive AI covers almost all the spectrum in all from artificial intelligence to deep learning. And but the Gen AI is only about the one aspect of the deep learning. And within that, we have these LLMs, which is now the Gen AI is can take the binary data like images or some other kind of those, but the LLMs are specifically designed or trained to take input from the text as a text input only. So this is one of the distinguishing thing that we need to keep in mind. And this means that LLMs are best suited for domains or problems where we have the text involved or we have the text data which we want to process. And as we see all over in our work, in our life, we have a lot of text data around us, and we deal with a lot of things in our speech, in our text format. And that's where the LLMs are so much focused and give so much benefit it's already giving so much benefit in our daily life. All right, just to give another perspective of the same thing, AI landscape. So one of the key thing or key idea I want to give over here is that the traditional predictive AI, I wouldn't say traditional, but the predictive AI and the generative AI are not there to compete each other. Basically, they are there to complement each other. And for now, in today's world, the manufacturing or any other bulk of the AI models are based on a predictive AI mechanism, and that will continue to be like that. That will continue to be for in an unforeseeable future, and that's where the Gen AI, the generative AI, is here to complement, to give kind of support to make the predictive AI more accurate and more feature-rich. As I said, the predictive AI is aimed to make accurate predictions or classification based on input data. The things, the tools and techniques that comes or that actually that supports predictive AI are the CNN, the convolution neural network, RNN. Sorry, I didn't mention RNN over here, but RNN, the recurrent neural network, LSTM, GRU, K-means, which comes under the machine learning, decision trees, linear regressions, random forests, support vector machine, SVMs. These are the ones which we before this Gen AI came in, we only knew about these things, and they are all about predictive AI. On the other hand, generative AI seeks to create a new data instances that are similar but not identical to the data it was trained on. So the idea is basically generate a completely new set of contents, but in order to generate, need to train the model on a huge set of already set of contents, text contents in this case. The techniques that are there to support the Gen AI are GAN, generative adversarial networks, VAE, transformers, diffusion, autoencoders, and reinforcement learning. And again, there is basically refers to generative AI refers to the category of AI systems capable of generating completely novel content on their own, because predictive AI cannot think outside of what has been trained or been, whereas the generative AI tends to give you the kind of a feeling, some of the creativity, something new, novel content that was not created before. All right. I hope that makes it clear, because this concept is crucial in order to see how the Gen AI is working and helping out the industry. Or we will see in future that in most of the cases, in many of the Gen AI is actually helping out or predictive AI to do better, to give better responses. All right. Some of the applications that the predictive AI is already actually giving, for example, in finance, we have seen credit scoring, stock market trends. In healthcare, disease predictions, patient remission risk, retail and e-commerce, demand forecasting, personalized recommendation. Again, all these use cases are based on historical data. We feed that data to the predictive AI, and then the predictive AI is actually predicting or projecting what could be the next step based on that data, and it cannot think out of the box or outside of these already giving constraints. Manufacturing predictive maintenance is highly dependable on this existing predictive AI's kind of tools. Marketing, cybersecurity, and transportation and logistics route. We use Google Map or Uber or Grab over here in Malaysia. So all they are utilizing the predictive AI all the while. Weather forecasting, wildlife, fire risk assessments, all these being environment monitoring is also benefiting already from the predictive AI. Now, this is for the predictive AI. Let's see what the generative AI is giving. What are some of the examples of generative AI? Seek to create new data instances that are similar, but not identical to the data it was trained on. All right. And some of the example in the art and design are AI art generation. You have seen some of you have utilized DALL-E from ChatGPT to generate. And we've been hearing a lot of, even in our WhatsApp groups, people are sharing images generated using using ChatGPT or all those kind of tools. So virtual fashion designs are being supported or being utilized through the generative AI. Deepfake technology is there. Video game contents are being generated using the generative AI. Now, how the video game contents are being generated? For example, we are playing Forza Horizon or any other kind of role-playing game. And previously, the amount of environment was limited, but now all the environment in that game is been kind of, in some of the games what I have read is they've been generated using the generative AI. So this means unlimited amount of those environment contents is there, so a person can play infinitely in this game with every time with a new and fascinating kind of scene coming up in front of him or her. Drug discovery, material science been beneficial because material science, for example, the batteries, EV batteries, I've read that so new materials are being discovered through going through the generative AI. Generative AI has been utilized to analyze the whatever currently we have, and come out of it create simulations and new possible outcomes to understand, and then narrowing down all the outcomes to see the most viable options, and then means narrowing down the scope of the trial and errors. And that's where it's helping material science. Technology and software development, of course, code generation. If some of you have already used GitHub Copilot at those things, it is excellent in generating new code and also understanding and kind of giving you the fixing the existing code issues. Websites and UI has been designed to using that code, and it's been told there's a fear among the programming industry or developers that these code generation tools might take our jobs. These are the things that are there, but if you look at from the other side, these actually code generation tools are helping the engineers to give a more quality output as well. Marketing and advertising is all about content creation. Personalizing experiences are being supported by generative AI. Education, research, and healthcare and medicines, they're also being heavily influenced by generative AI. Okay, now I just want to relate this predictive AI and generative AI in a different. This is how I see it, and I wanted to share with you. Probably some of you might have heard about left brain and right brain. Left brain is more analytical, and right brain is more creative. Those things. So I use that analogy here as well. I see that predictive AI like our left brain, and the generative AI like our right brain. And as in a regular person, in order to excel, in order to give a quality output, we have to use both brains in a balanced way, in a same like that over here. The basic idea is to utilize predictive AI and generative AI in a very kind of optimal and balanced way is the key to success. And that's actually been because, as I mentioned earlier, the predictive AI is already heavily utilized in the industry, and it will continue to be like that. But what generative AI will help out over here is to support predictive AI, to improve predictive AI, to continue to excel and continue to solidify its implementation. For example, in the predictive AI, the analytical and logical excel in processing structured data to forecast future outcomes. It's very detail-oriented, focus on precision, accuracy, and detail in predictions. Sequence processing, it uses step-by-step analysis to make informed decisions. Predictive AI is all about data-driven. Everything is data in the predictive AI, and it relies on historical data for predictive, analytical, and risk assessment. That's what our left brain does, do the same thing. On the right brain, which actually kind of similar to or I would say generative AI is kind of similar to right brain, is more about creativity and intuition, generates new innovation content mimicking real world data. And it actually sees, it's about looking at the big picture of thinking, seeing beyond the data to explore creative possibilities and solutions. It does try to see the holistic processing, holistic picture, and it's innovation driven. And again, when you say, okay, the one of the key difference between the right brain and generative AI is could be that the brain itself has inner creativity of its own. Generative AI has the creativity out of the training data. It's only whatever data we have given. Generative AI can create creativity using that learning only. It cannot go out of that trained stuff. So it's leveraging the analytical prowess of the left brain, predictive AI for data-driven forecasting, and the creativity abilities of the right brain. Generative AI for innovative content creation. We can unlock a synergetic AI ecosystem that marries precision with imagination for tremendous results, solutions, or groundbreaking solutions. Synergy, how basically integrating the predictive and generative AI. It's about collaborating intelligence, because combining the analytical strength of predictive AI with the creative power of generative AI for enhanced problem solving and innovation. In the complementary capabilities case, utilizing predictive AI for accuracy and efficiency, and generative AI for creativity and exploration in AI-driven projects. And in a third, the innovative way, bridging logical analysis and creative generation to unlock new opportunities and application in various industries. Again, these three are just some of the possibilities. The sky is the limit. Means it just how a model engineer or the architect would like to use these two. It depends on it depends on the case to case and the problem statement itself. Combining the predictive and generative AI, again, it's enhanced data augmentation, improved decision making, creative contents with contextual relevance, interactive AI systems, anomaly detections and responses, is optimization of generative designs. Personal recommendations are also, because some portion you can take from the generative AI and some from the predictive and combine them into a holistic solution for it. Some of the real world use cases I gathered around. For example, in one of the case study, and by the way, this is my last slide. I hope I will complete soon within time. This is a clinical diagnostic in partnership with the leading healthcare provider. OpenAI developed a clinical language model, achieving a 20% reduction in diagnostic errors and notably decreasing patients' waiting times. Means the patient can explain what exactly the problem is, and the model will try to analyze and try to predict, or try to actually analyze and see what exactly could be the root cause, and then provide that to the doctor upfront for expediting the diagnosis. If you go further, this customer support, yes, that's where one of the leading kind of domains where the LLMs are really shining. Customer support, where semiconductor companies streamlined customer support by using LLM to quickly generate relevant knowledge responses, basically to reducing the technical resolution times and boosting customer satisfaction. Tools like LangChain, LLM Index are utilized because the problem is the LLM are, once they just train on that particular set of data. Now, let's say you want to utilize this LLM capability on a totally different domain, or on your own domain, which the LLM has never seen before. The technique that is called RAG, retrieval augmented generation, those things to and also in customer support, for example, you have a previous context, you give that context to LLM and give a question and get the answer. The LLM is excellent at constructing answers out of the history of, for example, in the case of a customer chat, those things, right? Again, there's another LLM and generative AI to expedite query resolution from days to seconds, with an 85% success rate in addressing diverse questions, signifying enhancing user satisfaction with prompt and precise response. In the software development, if you look at what's the left side, GitHub Copilot, if born from OpenAI's collaboration with GitHub, it's an excellent, wonderful tool. Even the Chat GPT itself is excellent at producing code and analyzing code, give you kind of reasonable kind of output. But Copilot actually takes the thing to the next level. And still, they are been releasing new and new models that actually enhances that capability over here. And if you guys haven't tried the Copilot, GitHub Copilot, go ahead, give it a try. It is awesome. Major financial firms have transformed regulatory compliance using a cybersecurity focused LLM to condense the extensive process of aligning regulations with policies from months to days, and showcasing the semantic comprehension and linguistic mastery of LLMs. Tax firms on these are utilizing LLMs to audit, to actually they've trained the models on already existing tax data and those documents, and then using the LLM, the newly trained LLMs, to view and get some complianceness within the text newly text documents. Manufacturing, manufacturing Rico utilizes specialized LLM in its AI-driven digital transformation to enhance agent troubleshooting, slashing the technical onboarding process from 10 weeks to just 2 minutes. Again, now here's one of the key point I want to highlight over here is that LLMs they are focusing on the text only, and when we talk about manufacturing, there comes like the sensor data or all other many different types of data, which is mostly binary data. So how does the LLM can support over here? Yes, in that case, one of the solutions that are being utilized is basically converting those binary data into a human readable kind of text. For example, 0 means off and 1 mean on. So you, instead of giving 0 and 1, you give on and off, and then or converting all that binary data into some kind of text representation, and then give that text representation to the LLM to generate, like, for example, prediction, or not only that, also feed some of the previous reports and maintenance records that were maintained by some previous technicians, give all that data along with sensor data converted into a text format to the LLM, and give a kind of idea when the prediction, when the system is going to break, or when is the potential time to do the servicing and all those things. So that's how the LLMs are being utilized in those situations in manufacturing where the most of the data is binary format. Software validation, being software teams are heavily utilizing or converting or actually using the LLMs to generate test cases to create a simulated test cases in order to enhance their testing, and in order to strengthen the software they are validating. So these are some of the real world use cases that are being in there, but of course there's the huge number of examples are there outside, and but I just picked a few of them. Okay, now, yeah, that's all for me from here. Thank you very much. And I think towards the end, we will have some question answers kind of sessions. And if you have any questions, you can ask over there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Arshad, for your insightful perspective and a lot of interesting sharing regarding how AI and LLM works in the real world that we have currently. Thank you very much. And again, any questions will be at the end of the session for our Q&A. All right. Last but not least, we have our tip speaker for today, Dr. Muhammad Imran Sarwar. Dr. Imran, are you ready to be with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Thank you, Ms. Anati. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes, all clear.
Okay, that's good. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today, especially if it is a public holiday. So, my presentation is after Dr. Shafiq, who make a context about generative AI, what is generative AI, and how the data privacy and cybersecurity is a big concern in the generative AI. And then Mr. Arshad have uh, move the things towards deeper level, how generative AI and LLM are basically working in terms of things. So usually when we talk about industry 4.0, right? So whether we are talking about industry 4.0 transformation for skills or assessment or consultancy, uh, generative AI is the end, at the end that we need to look into and target into. So when we talk about introduction to generative AI and LLM, generative AI is a superset, which is an umbrella. Inside generative AI is a foundation models. Those models are based on the label or unlabeled data that are fine-tuned for wide variety of applications in different sectors. That can be manufacturing, logistics, supply chain, healthcare, agriculture, education, banking, so on. So, and then those foundation models have LLM, which is large language models. So AI have a large amount of data that is interpreted. So just like Mr. Arshad mentioned, that LLM specifically is for the text-based or structured data. The structured data are your alphabets and numbers. But generative AI is beyond that, means that it also covers unstructured data where you can able to have voice, you can have a video and images. Just like Midjourney and Sora are the examples where generative AI with its own understanding based on the data which has been trained can generate an image, video, and so on. For example, you can able to ask generative AI engine to make a video of 10 seconds of a person standing beside KLCC and looking at the beautiful view. It will able to move that. So the focus for me will be on LLM, ChatGPT, and also generative AI, and how we can use this into manufacturing and other sector in their transformation journey, and what are the skills required in terms of moving towards Gen AI, and what will be the organization roadmap. So when we talk about hype cycle of generative AI as per Gartner, you can able to see that the generative AI is right now here. So generative AI is at the peak of the hype. What does hype cycle mean? That whenever a new technology is coming, it is at the beginning, people started to came to know about those technologies, and then there are R&D specialists like Dr. Shafiq, industrial practitioner like Mr. Arshad, who are working on different use cases, and it started to widely adopted by the public or industry or community or academia. And at the pinnacle of that time, it is at the most high position. This means it's highly needed, is disrupted, and then there will be a time that it will be common. So right now we are at this position where generative AI is revolutionizing everything in the form of chat gpt, copilot, Sora, Midjourney, and so on. So now we are finding a way how we can able to utilize it in our digital transformation, especially in industrial sector. So when we talk about end-to-end landscape of the generative AI, generative AI can be used in a text, just like mentioned by Mr. Arshad, or note taking. So you can able to ask to take a notes of the minutes. General writing, you can ask the generative AI to write something, essay, or meeting minutes, or draft, or email, everything from the scratch based on the requirement. And also looking into sales emails and content for marketing. You can do that in ChatGPT, no issue. It's a text-based. So apart from text-based, generative AI is also used in coding. So coding, there are platform full code, low code, or no code. But using ChatGPT or other platform, you can create a coding for your front end, web application, back end, cloud application, data analysis, AI, so on. And that is also part of a Gen AI ecosystem in terms of coding. And then not only it can able to do a coding and application design for you, it will also do the documentation for you. So the million-dollar question here is, what about the web designers? What will happen to them? They need to think about it because there will be a competition between them as well as Gen AI platform, where with a matter of minutes, you can able to generate a website using no code or Gen AI based platform based on your preferences, which is fast and easy. In terms of images for Gen AI, Gen AI can be used to design brochures, marketing, advertisement materials, campaigns, social media, and also image generation. Midjourney is one example. In terms of voice, that is very interesting. Voice bots. So when you are communicating with the customer service of an organization, which may be banks or other organization, it will be hard to differentiate whether you are talking to a human or a robot. Just imagine if I am, for example, from northern region of Malaysia, and I have a slang. So the Gen AI voice bot will able to distinguish from my own data that I have registered my location, my ethnicity, my dialect, and then it will able to communicate and reason with me, not only in, let's say, Bahasa Malaysia, but also action. So that is what we are looking and witnessing right now. It has a quite much benefits, means that the call center will be obsolete because you will be having a AI voice bot that have generative information about the context whom the user is communicating to. And this is not something myth or something that is we are looking into future. There are existing platform available that can able to do that. Now, in terms of video editing and generation, Sora, SORA, recently basically come into the picture, also from OpenAI, can do that. You can just write what you want and it can generate a video content for you. 3D models is also basically part of the Gen AI. And then after that, what are the different sectors, which can be different subjects like biology, chemistry, language, healthcare, manufacturing, supply chain, all those things can utilize that generative AI based on the requirement, and it's quite amazing. Now, let me deep dive in more. We discussed about application level for the generative AI. What about AI models? So for the text base, which is ChatGPT, you have OpenGPT, OpenAI GPT, DeepMinder. Facebook also have their own platform called OPT. Hugging Face Bloom. This is basically from Amazon, Amazon Web Service, having this thing. And then Cohort, Cohere, Anthropic, AI2, Alibaba. So there are many deep learning LLM models as part under the umbrella of Gen AI that are helping us in terms of text generation, which I just talked about. In terms of the AI models, which are AI, Gen AI, LLM models for the text are these. For the Gen AI models for the code that can generate the code, build a web application or website for us based on our requirement in a matter of minutes, GPT-3, Tab 9, and Stability.ai. You can check on that. The image generation based on the image text data that we are providing to them to generate an images. There's OpenAI DALL-E2, Stable Diffusion, and Carry On as a model. They are the Gen AI models that are basically used to generate those kind of a content. For speech voice synthesis, OpenAI is having a model for that. And then for video editing and generating the video, like just like Sora, that you can able to generate a contents of the video which looks real. At Microsoft XClip, Meta make a video, and also OpenAI is having that. For the 3D models, NVIDIA have its own engine, and which is quite good. So what is the generative AI technology roadmap in terms of how it started, where we are, and what it looks like in the future? Just to give you a glimpse, it was before 2020, which started with the chatbot, basics QA, understanding which email is spam, which is not, used in translation. So you are using a translation using NLP, natural language processing, from English to Bahasa Malaysia or Mandarin and vice versa. And then basic questioning to the chat GPT. So from the text base, it is starting from before 2020. So it's from 2010 onwards until 2020. And then right now, so we are in a position where we have a in a form of a short-term improvement in the future, which is on generative adversarial network, which is on a deep learning network, which is also called GAN that we are using. And then we are also in a process of short term, which is in the advancement of language modeling that support multiple syntax grammar of the languages to understand by the computer or by the AI, and then synthesis of the data to train and then do the reasoning. Gen AI is not taking the data from Google or from the website. Gen AI is understanding and give a reasoning. So that are quite complex models that we are looking right now. So in the 3 years time and even beyond that, what we are looking into possibly is that generative AI system can be used to define different kind of a translation. There will be a reasoning. Just imagine school, they will be having lecturers or teachers that can have a customized platform for the students. So currently, the education system everywhere doesn't have the capability of gamification and also personalization learning. So if a student is having a good and high IQ, he or she can able to achieve different standards within 1 year based on the customization that we are going. In a way, it's good, but on another way, just imagine how many jobs will be reduced. Because if you wanted to train a group of lecturers or teachers in a particular new technology, it requires a lot of time and money. But in case of Gen AI based platform, it just needs a one click and that's it. So in the long term, there are some use cases that we will be seeing in the coming slides that will look into about how generative AI is shaping manufacturing in other sectors. So those use cases, if you are seeing, they are plenty, and then they are to facilitate the, the income generation or the capital formation after implementing it. So in 2023, it's quite small, which is on $0.33 billion. But by using generative AI, you have many advantages and there are many benefits that can be used in different sector, which can be food manufacturing, beverages manufacturing, tobacco, textile, paper, wood, printing, petroleum, chemical manufacturing, pharmaceutical, rubber, plastic manufacturing, fabricated metal, computer electronics manufacturing, automotive, transportation, and so on. So you will see that the trend will be quite much fast. And using a generative AI, there will be a lot of use cases that can help increase the productivity and bring the capital up in the form of ROI. So what are those use cases? These are some of the use cases of different sectors. For instance, in case of automotive, there can be in-car personal assistance, route predictions, generative car design models. So there will be not customization, but also personalization, manufacturing and supply chain optimization end to end, and then also AI stack personalization for automotive. In case of healthcare, there can be a patient data risk analysis. So you have a smartwatch, and then you have that data which is being generated continuously every second, and then there can be a recommendation to the patients about their diet, their health, their lifestyle, so they will not have some health complications. Then also predictions about when and where you can have different kind of fatal disease. And so generative AI can able to help reasoning and convincing customization and talk to the people to have a healthy lifestyle management and monitoring, and also inpatient care for hospital management and so on. Um, it is also basically used in manufacturing for material movement. Just imagine that you are having a recommendation to the supervisor when to move, when to have a predictive maintenance for the machinery. What about the production planning? I have come across many organizations and factories. They are having a firefighting mode every single day for their production planning. So that pain in terms of working non-stop in a stress can be reduced by using AI, specifically generative AI, quality assurance. So it's very common to say that you can have a production line, you have an AI camera to do the anomaly detection. After that, what? You detect the anomaly. So what is the next step? The next step is to minimize it. So these kind of occurrences will not happen. So first is detection, then prevention, and then going for the root cause analysis um, to address the issue. That can be used by generative AI. Revenue estimation. Right now, global economy is quite fragile. So generative AI is a step not only for the prediction, but also prescription, which is prescriptive analytics, and also for the reasoning. Uh, in retail and e-commerce, you can able to use for visual assistance, price optimization, CRM, and also for product recommendation for different geographical location in a different time zone and different ethnicity. In terms of government surveillance, definitely you can able to have a prediction, threat assessment, and also citizen services. And for transportation and logistic, route optimization, traffic management, fleet management, warehouse automation, and so on can be used. So there are hundreds of different generative AI use cases in different sectors. So I selected six of them from different sectors to give you more understanding. So in terms of building design, so you in the construction sector, there are different geographical location have a different requirements. So the architect and building developers can auto-generate architecture plans based on building location, climate condition, and budget, all helped by generative AI. Manufacturing and product design, you can have engineers and designers, for instance, can able to use Gen AI to accelerate design and development of the parts and also components. So that is quite important, that how generative AI can use in the vertical and horizontal integration within the manufacturing, automotive or factory and supply chain, and in terms of recommendation giving the thing. So you don't need to search in the Google. You don't need to read thousands of pages to understand things. You don't need to waste your time writing those things, planning those things, having a brainstorm. So you need to have a brainstorm between people and AI. So AI, so a couple of years ago, we were explaining and understanding there should be a diversity and inclusion of different races between humans. Now we need to have a diversity and inclusion culture between humans and AI, because AI is to complement humans in terms of their landscape. Okay, so that kind of things require brainstorming activities and how you can leverage the real potential of AI in your daily work. In terms of infrastructure design, generative AI can help project developers, engineers, and optimize build out of the solar farms and heat pumps. Material discovery can be also used in the geographical locations for sustainable fuel. Synthetic data can be used for autonomous driving like Tesla, BYD, and so on, and also procurement. Just imagine generative AI is making a decision about your planning and also driving, especially when there's a school holidays. It's quite much jam, so uh, you don't need to basically focus on much of the worries on driving, rather than Gen AI autonomous driving can able to assist, and then also procurement as well. I will skip that. This is for banking. So there are some challenges and considerations. So ethical and societal concern, just like Dr. Shafiq in the beginning mentioned about what are the concerns in terms of data privacy, and if hacker can exploit the data, then definitely the wrong data brings wrong analysis will bring wrong decisions. Biasness, currently there was a big hoo-hoo ha-ha based on the Gemini from Google, who have projected that the forefathers of the US are black. So there was quite much concern in terms of biasness and fairness. Quality control, computation resource intensity, data privacy, human and AI interaction is also a challenge, and also creative integration, authorship, and also regulation and governance. We need to have a regulation and governance like Europe and West. So how organization is using or can use the generative AI. Currently, based on our market research in Europe and other parts of Asia, they are using the generative AI in the research and development for innovation and intellectual property. They're using generative AI for marketing, campaign, understanding the customer data, customer acquisition and retention, and so on. In software development, to check the quality of the code. For the product development, if that product is suitable for that particular group. In IT operation, to check the cybersecurity and infrastructure maintenance. The future potential are on the customer service in the form of voice bots. In the marketing, target segment marketing for customization and personalization. Software development code, research and IT operations. So you can able to see that the potential is huge. Spending plan for AI. These are some organizations that are starting to have an allocation of Gen AI budget. So you need a budget for their softwares, the subscription, upscaling, reskilling, and so on. And then what Gen AI can do, it can increase the employee productivity. My admin staff is writing all of the letters or emails through Gen AI. Instead of spending a couple of half an hour, it just takes a couple of minutes. Support data analytics and business intelligence. This is quite critical. Improve and automate process and workflow. That identification is quite critical and maybe skipped during our analysis. Improve operational efficiency using Gen AI and improve user and customer experience, not through chatbot, but also voice bots. So there are some investment and challenges, especially in terms of skills. Especially in Malaysia, for example, we are looking into there's a mismatch of what industry wants and what industry needs and what is being produced. And partially, we need to look into this as a high priority because without Gen AI skills based on the deep learning and machine learning based on the data science, analytics, programming. So there's a chain. So we need to look into the chain that I will discuss and show you later, which will be very good. And what are the implications of the Gen AI on the key industry, especially the impact on customer experience? CX is huge, critically in terms of the growth of an organization. So customer success, marketing, text, image generation, one-to-one personalization are the impact that we can create using Gen AI, and impact on data and analytics. How we can explore the anomalies or trends which are hidden to have a better visualization. How we can identify, integrate the right data. How we can evaluate, explain, and communicate the result to the respective stakeholders, and how we can able to have an entire life cycle and understand the business problem and to improve. In terms of cybersecurity, definitely there is an impact on employee training, data security protection, data governance framework. We we are in the middle of acquiring the data from different sources, managing the data, but we also are considering what will be the data governance framework for accessibility, cybersecurity, and also for privacy and also for automation. Quite important factor, but hugely underrated and ignored. And then how cybersecurity use cases we are using to plan for generative. So these are threat intelligence, threat modeling, incident. So wherever there is a data, there will be always a threat for the cybersecurity perspective. Impact on application development, especially for technical people. You can have a faster code creation, improve customer support, generate a good documentation for other people, and faster debugging and improving. My final leg for the presentation is on the skills and their roadmap. So when we talk about generative AI roadmap skills, so if you are interested in AI, if you are interested to work on the platform of Gen AI and wanted to have a model and then wanted to improve, what is the roadmap? Number one, you need to have an understanding of mathematics because AI underneath is mathematics. Number two, you need to have a programming that is easy to learn, easy to apply, which is Python, and understanding of data analytics. Data analytics, as per Gartner, there are many platforms, but the leader of data analytics platform are two. Number one is Power BI. Number two is Tableau. My personal favorite is Power BI. It's free for the desktop version. It's easy to use, so you can able to learn and improve faster. Phase two, let's look into the machine learning basics. So you need to have a data science. You need to understand the Python library of pandas, NumPy, scikit-learn, and deep learning framework like TensorFlow and PyTorch. This is the phase two. Phase three is to have specialized knowledge on NLP, which is natural language processing, and then computer vision using deep learning and advanced neural network. Phase four, generative AI models, which is GAN, VAE, some diffusion models, LLM framework, fine tuning those models because you will train the model and then you will test the model and then you will fine tune the parameters. And then use large data set for the experiment so that data set can be organization level or basically other sector depending on if you are related to manufacturing, it needs to have a manufacturing data. So what type of manufacturing data? It depends which department. If it is HR department, employee data. If it's finance department, financial data. If it is procurement department, procurement data. If it's a machine data, production line data. If it is planning and materials, warehouse, those kind of a data needs to be given to the LLM model or generative AI model. And phase five, it's continuous improvement because every single day new models are coming, new technologies are coming, so you need to be up to date. And then also create a POC pilot for the 4IR sector, and then connect with the R&D uh, community. Do R&D, have some publications. IEEE have a very good open access. You can able to look into that, even Science Direct. So what researchers like Dr. Shafiq are doing, publication and myself, so you can able to look into what's going on or happening around the world. In terms of organization, what will be the generative AI roadmap for you? Number one is to align AI organization strategy. So you need to have an assessment, which is called maturity assessment in terms of people, process, technology, data, and strategy. We will be having our upcoming physical program in Penang about maturity assessment, where there are 5 experts talking about how you can have an assessment in terms of people, process, technology, where you are and where you should be, and do the gap analysis. So you can join that. It's free. So you need to have an AI strategy and unified strategy and organization strategy. When we talk about organization strategy, it includes people as well. Number two is to establish responsible AI guideline principles. You should not wait for the government to create a strategy for you, a national policy. Rather than you can able to start with your own. You can look into the accounting, privacy, fairness, biasness, safety, security aspect of the data and AI. Number three is to assess your AI maturity, where you are. Are you at the exploration stage, incorporation stage, proliferation space, optimization space, or transformation space? So you need to look into, and there are many models. You can use industry forward model, CD model from Singapore, Fraunhofer from Germany, BDMA for Germany. So there are different models you can select, or you can contact us so we can able to assist you. And then based on your assessment, you know where you are, industry 3.0, 3.5, and how you can move to industry 4.0. It needs to be prioritized and have an opportunity in terms of prioritization. And especially when you are looking into those initiatives, it has to start small, using data and AI. And then what is the value creation and impact, and what is the ROI calculations. The number 5 step will be to develop the policies direct to AI users. You start with the analytics, machine learning, deep learning, and Gen AI. So you need to have a policy within your organization as well, and then build a tactical roadmap in terms of increased revenue. Because at the end, technology is to facilitate you in terms of increase your revenue, increase the productivity, increase the optimization, increase the end-to-end metrics of improvement and effectiveness, and decrease the factors that are creating a roadmap for you and your product. Okay. So what futures hold? This is my second last slide. So generative AI and the future of the work, if you can able to see, there are many type of artificial intelligence that can be used for different purpose. They can be used for research, insight, which is forecasting, automation, innovation, and decision. So we are looking into how data and AI can able to use to innovate. How we can able to solve problems using data and AI in a most effective manner, using design thinking approach, and how we can able to have an innovation. So data AI innovation is the thing for tomorrow, and the tomorrow is near, and we have to prepare it today. So these are the type of AI enablement. You may have internal data and external data models that you can able to use for AI enablement, and the knowledge workers. So the operators who are working in the industry, they needs to upskill. So operators needs to be technician needs to be engineer needs to be AI worker, AI knowledge worker that can work on AI models in order to have employee experience, pursue new market, have design CX, which is customer experiences, create and communicate effectively, making a better decision, optimize business operations, business administrations, and gather need information, which is in a continuous format. So knowledge worker is now AI knowledge worker or AI digital worker. Last slide. What are the predictions as per Gartner and other players in the industry? By 2025, 70% of the enterprises will be identifying sustainable and ethical use of AI. By 2025, 70% of the support requests initiated through Gen AI powered chatbots and voice bots. Chatbot and voice bot. So voice bot will be used more even. That will increase the customer service costing. The banking in the next 5 to 10 years are looking into how they can reduce the number of branches so their operation cost can be lowered down and they can have a digital banking as per BNM, which is Bank Negara Malaysia. They would like to have a digital banking that have one of the best CX customer experience. So the customer doesn't need to come to the branch. Everything can happen using mobile app. And then by 2025, use of synthetic data can reduce the volume of real-time data machine learning. By 2025, which is 2 years from here, it has been said that 30% outbound marketing messages are generated from LLM or Gen AI. Through 2026, despite all of the advancement in AI, the impact of global job will be neutral. They will be not be decrease or increase. So they will be decrease in the job because Gen AI and AI based things can able to reduce. So what is the next thing to do for us is to upscale and basically work on the new platform. By 2023, as AI solution will result in more than 500 million net new human jobs. So AI can also create a new sectors that will produce new job, but for those new jobs, needs to have upscaling. By 2030, AI could reduce the global CO2 emission, and by 2030, decision made by AI agent without human oversight will cause 100 billion loss of asset damage. Okay, so this is my presentation. Sorry for shooting 5 minutes more. So over to Ms. Anati.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Imran. So we have had 3 of our speakers giving their insightful perspective for the topics that we have today. Now I would like to open the floor for any questions from the audience. You can unmute your mic or you may type in the chat box. All right, while waiting for our participants and audience to come up with their questions, dear panelists, I have a question. So all of us has basically discussed regarding the topic, and what we would like to see is within the context of Malaysian landscape. And Dr. Imran has also touched upon this part, but what is your opinions in terms of, is there any particular sectors or industries that you believe will benefit the most from these advancements of AI and language model, specifically in the Malaysian landscape? It's open for our panelists to share their thoughts on this.
I think Mr. Arshad will be the better person to answer this question in that since he's been living in Malaysia so long.
Sure, you are mute.
All right. Okay, thank you. I'll try to answer that. I think some of the top, since LLMs are mostly text-based kind of models, and the industries that are going to get the most out of it mostly are related in the text domain. Like, for example, the areas like customer supports or marketing or those the kind of things that will get the most, but doesn't mean that the other industry will not get. Definitely, there will a lot of other industries will be benefiting. Now, the one of the advantage Malaysia has at this moment is I was reading a report recently that because of the trade war between China and US, Malaysia Penang is an unexpected winner of that thing, right? This means, and I can see in like I stay in Batu Kawan, Penang, every week kind of new industry is opening up over here in the news. Something is coming up over here. And that's a prime kind of opportunity for Malaysian government to give incentives to those industries to start adopting the Gen AI techniques in the manufacturing itself, in the manufacturing domain or in the so, and not only that, also try besides this giving incentive so that within the next 3 days, three years, sorry, to incentivize and to give push to those industries. And then those industries gonna give a kind of incentive for the rest of the industry to adopt more, because it's a long process. It's not that within the next day or within few months everybody will start using Gen AI. It's a slowly, it's have to create a cultivation, a culture of this using this thing. So this is one thing. And on the other side, the government start to have collaboration, strong collaboration with the academia to build the knowledge and build the skill set, which is currently lacking a lot in all over the world. This Gen AI is lacking skillful people, skillful resources. So that's the other thing. In order to fill that gap, the government start kind of promoting this thing. Sorry to take long for that answer, but yeah, that's my perspective out of it.
All right, thank you very much for your perspective, Mr. Arshad. So I believe you've answered my second question as well, but I would like to ask other panels as well. If what are their thoughts in terms of how fast Malaysia will be able to adapt these generative AI use cases? Do you see it coming in like 3 years, or do you think it will take more than 5 years for Malaysia to be able to adapt these use cases?
Okay, I believe that um, for the first part of the questions, I believe that every sector will be using Gen AI. There are some use cases in each sector which are easy. For example, customer related queries and communication with them. So many of the organization are using the chat bots and chat GPT as well as a part of their daily work. So chat GPT is transforming many of the organization in terms of early brainstorming and kickstarting. And for the chatbots and voice bot, I believe that many of the MNCs and GLs are moving towards it. The voice bots are basically not been leveraged much, but I believe that within a couple of months or maybe by next year, there will be a lot of GLCs and MNCs will be using that. Now, coming back to the question two, which you have mentioned in Malaysian perspective for the next few years, I believe that the customer experience phase will be less than 3 years. But there are some use cases which are on the complexity side. Let's say on the use cases in terms of production planning, in terms of human resource department for shortlisting the candidate for interview, financial forecasting by finance, quality assurance by manufacturing, supply chain, logistic. I think it will take a little bit time because right now they are uh, trying machine learning and deep learning approach in terms of anomaly detection and forecasting. And once they have done it, then it will be easier for them to to move towards the Gen AI for the automation, because at the end, the goal is not to detect, but also to automate the process in this regard. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Imran, Sarwar, for your input on that. Another call for questions from the audience. The floor is open for questions from audience. You may type in the chat box or you may unmute your mic. All right. In that regard, I have my last question from for this session here is that in the organizations in Malaysia, right, when they are trying to improve their use cases to adopt this generative AI, the difficulty is in terms of getting the talents, getting the workforce that will be able to work in the landscape and having the experience for the AI analytics and domain. So, what do you think? What is your advice for the Malaysian community or Malaysian workforce who are trying to upskill themselves to be able to have these advanced skills such as generative AI? What would be the roadmap look like for people like us trying to get into this domain?
Well, I believe Dr. Imran had just shown that the roadmap, anybody whosoever wants to get into this profession, he has beautifully given this the roadmap. I mean, all the steps that they can go through, and then they can get expertise in this field. So I would add on to that. Basically, if we have to be a student. I mean, we always have to learn what's happening in the marketplace. So suppose even if you are in the industry, you have to be in touch what's happening in the marketplace and what are the demands, and then you can obviously get in touch and see how you can progress well, and how you can enhance your the expertise. So it is not that, like, I give an example, even if you are a professor or some, maybe you are in any industry, so you cannot just rely on having certain specialty in certain subjects. But we have seen, as the other speakers have given a very good descriptive about the future of generative AI, it can really replace us. So we have to make sure that we are well advanced as well. We learn about it, which then we can really how we can use it in our whether it's a research, whether it's industry, or some sort of a thing. So how we can really cooperate with this existing technique, and then we can maintain our sustainability in the I will say in the marketplace. So I think that is what I think.
All right, thank you very much for your input, Dr. Shafiq. So, in that
Just to
regards,
add,
out of all,
just to add a little bit on there, yes, Miss, yes, I totally agree with Mr. Dr. Shafiq and Dr. Imran. They have actually give a comprehensive kind of a progression. Just to based on my kind of own experience, and I think one of the things that when you talk about AI, people kind of get scared. It's quite complex kind of feel those things. But the thing is that currently the amount of frameworks and amount of helps that is already there, for example, the Hugging Face library or those things, it's creating simple solutions or kind of out of the box solutions are quite easier to do, right? And even you don't need to any mathematics. Let's say if you don't are not there to create the models or kind of come up with some new technology in the model creation, you even don't need a mathematical kind of understanding of that thing. Even without mathematics, you should able to create a awesome kind of solutions. So if let's say if anyone want to build up knowledge, can go to like Hugging Face has a huge amount of support over there. Online courses like Coursera, Udemy, those are the things where they can start going with the beginner course, then the intermediate, and that's how can do the progression in understanding, developing generative AI technology and kind of skill set.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Arshad, and the answers from Dr. Shafiq and sharing from Dr. Imran earlier as well. Hopefully, this will be able to open our eyes to the open the workforce eyes to be able to see that anybody can jump into this dominant landscape as long as they have enough patience and effort for it. So there's a question we received from the audience. I will read from the chat box. So Mr. Badardin asked, how do the panelists see the application of AI and generative AI in food security to ensure that enough food for everyone in the country? So how do we use it to ensure demand and supply can be smoothened so as to ensure optimized pricing to avoid monopolies and oligopolies, etc. So welcome our
Okay.
panelists to be able to answer that.
Okay, so let me start. It's a very good question. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Badruddin. Um, AI itself is nothing without data, and data needs to be produced by IoT and IoT devices and sensors. So when we talk about food security, it's a end-to-end supply chain. That means that your farms are having an agriculture-based sensors, your warehouse is having sensors, your fleet logistics are having a sensors. In fact, your supply chain end to end is having a sensors. So let's assume that end to end for your agriculture based supply chain and food security based use case, you have IoT sensors which are producing the data that is going to the cloud. Cloud will save the data, and you have a monitoring application or dashboard to look and view end to end. So, in that perspective, when we have this kind of an ecosystem, number one, we will have a predictive analytics and demand forecasting. So, demand forecasting will tell us about what was the demand of the people based on different region, and how that demand is continues increasing, because demand will always increase because population is increasing, with the exception of Japan where population is decreasing in China. So in Malaysian context, for example, we will able to know what is the proportion of the demand increasing year by year, what is the percentage of it looks like. So with that accurate, around 99% accuracy will be provided by data. And then number two will be on the precision agriculture, means that using satellite imagery, drone surveillance, mostly drone surveillance, satellite imagery is quite expensive. Drone surveillance, you can able to know the yield of the potential farm, how much farm yield it will have, and how we can improve it. And that will able to help us in terms of the resources, and then also efficiency in terms of farming practices, which is called smart agriculture or agriculture 4.0. Now number three point will be on the supply chain optimization, meaning that you have a food supply chain that needs to be optimized in terms of routing, transportation costs, and delivery. So you will not look into the prospect of yield and the food, but also the prices. Like SST has been increased to 8%. Fuels maybe fluctuate, depends. So those kind of a prediction using the global data can able to help us understand what will be the prices for the supply chain cost will be next month or next 6 months or 1 year. Then next will be on the market price analysis. So what is the market price in terms of food, real-time analytics, and also to prevent the potential monopolistic practices and price fixing that we can able to identify. That require huge data, and I think the government can able to look into that one, because government is having the authority to have a data, and then they can able to implement that thing. Next is on the customer behavior analytics in terms of preferences. What are the preferences? Because if you see 10 years row, last 10 years, you will see that the new generation having new preferences. So their preferences was different 10 years back, and now the preferences are different. So what are the preferences in terms of food consumption and particular type of food, which is staple food? Um, then comes into food safety and quality control, which is on how your farm and your ecosystem in terms of healthcare standard can able to compliance. Environment monitoring, you can predict the environment and weather to tell whether there will be a specific El Nino effect, or there will be a rain, or what will be the implication of not having a rain. And then that forecasting right now is quite accurate for the next week, next month, even for 1 year. So that can able to help. And stock prices, and stock management, along with the policy making, can be done. So using generative AI, you have the IoT data, have an analytics dashboard for the prediction, and then from that prediction, Gen AI will be used to recommend. Generative AI will be used to recommend what will be the next course of action and how to automate that thing. So this is my 2 cents in that questions. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Dr. Imran. Do we have any other panelists who would like to chime in on that question as well?
For me, I think Dr. Imran has beautifully explained, comprehensively explained how that can be done.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much to our panelists, and also thank you very much for Mr. Badardin, the question. So last call for the questions from any of the audio members. All right, so I believe that would be it. So unfortunately, we have run out of time for today's webinar. I would like to extend my sincerest thanks to our panelists and everyone in the audience for joining us. So worry not, this will not be the end. Remember the questions, the conversation does not end here. Feel free to connect with us on our social media and continue the discussion. So for the audio members, just remember that Datalytica Sdn Berhad will be having more data and AI webinars and programs. So stay tuned. You may connect to us and stay updated via our LinkedIn. The QR on the right bottom side is for our LinkedIn, while the big QR code that we have here, we would like to request all members to scan and to be able to give feedback to us in order to improve our future programs as well. Let us know if there are any other questions you would like to communicate to us. If you have any other queries, you can send them to industry4.0datalytica.net. Okay,
This
while
can
sharing
call
this,
for this can call
yes,
for a group photo.
yes, that would be great. So everybody, let's have a group photo. The background here. While answering the feedback form project survey that we have, it would be great if everybody could open their camera so that we can have a group photo.
I think Mr. Nati
Right,
need to
I think our participants may be a bit shy for this, so let's just have the panelists open the camera and 3, 2, 1. Smile. Another one. 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
All
you very
right,
much.
so
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for inviting, and it was really a very fruitful session to see other panelists like Dr. Imran has given a lot of insights and what would be the future. So we researchers like here in the security perspective can look into that also. And Mr. Arshad has really given the what will be the practical aspects of the AI, generative AI in the LLMs. And it was really a very interesting session and very informative as well. Thank you so much for inviting, and hope to see you soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dr. Shafiq and also to Mr. Arshad and Mr. Nati and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thanks,
And
Doctor.
until
Thank
next
you.
time,
Thank you.
thank you and have a wonderful day.
It was a great
Thank
session.
you.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Bye bye.